It was June of 2019 when a young woman vanished after getting off a flight from Los Angeles, California to Salt Lake City, Utah. Investigation would uncover that she had ordered a lift from the airport, but it didn't take her back home. Instead, she was driven to a local park in the dead of the night. Mackenzie Lueck was a 23-year-old woman originally from El Segundo, California. She had moved from California to Salt Lake City in Utah, where she was studying kinesiology and pre-nursing at the University of Utah. Mackenzie had been studying since 2014. She lived in an apartment near Trolley Square, and she was also a member of the Alpha Child Mega Sorority. Mackenzie loves to travel, having recently just traveled alone throughout Europe. She had ambitions to attend nursing school or medical school. She was looking forward to starting a career that was standard on helping other people. Mackenzie's family, including her parents, Greg and Diana, still lived in California, mostly in the Los Angeles area. She had been raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and she had one older brother and two younger brothers. Mackenzie was also really sporty. She played water polo at high school, and she was on the swim team. In the middle of June 2019, Mackenzie flew from Salt Lake City to Los Angeles in California to attend her grandmother's funeral. It was Thursday, June 20th, 2019, when Mackenzie's parents reported her missing to Salt Lake City police. They informed police that the last time they had spoken to Mackenzie was on Monday. She texted them at around 2 a.m. from the Salt Lake City International Airport, informing them that she had arrived to see if she was well from California. Since then, her cell phone had been switched off. The last time that it was used was around 3 a.m. that morning. The first point of action for the police was to get in contact with Mackenzie's friends to try and retrace her last known movements. Her friend informed them that she hadn't arrived to work as a lab associate at PRA Health Services in Mill Creek, and she hadn't shown up to their classes at the University of Utah. Mackenzie's friends had gone to her apartment, but they found that she wasn't there. Her car was still at the apartment, but her luggage was nowhere to be seen. They also spoke with their neighbors and asked them to keep an eye out for her. In a bid to generate some interest, her friends printed out missing person flyers and distributed them throughout the area. The missing person flyers describe Mackenzie as standing at 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighing around 120 pounds. Mackenzie did live away from her parents, but she was in constant contact via text messages and phone calls. They always texted throughout the day. Her friend commented that not answering your phone is very, very unusual. Even if you're missing or you want to disappear, you have to turn your phone on for GPS. Mackenzie's loved ones would utilize social media, setting up a Facebook page called Find Mackenzie Look. In a statement, her family said, "Our primary goal is to find Mackenzie and bring her home." Her family is grateful for the concern, prayers, and tireless efforts of the Salt Lake City police and members of the community. According to the family of Mackenzie, they believe that after leaving the airport at Salt Lake City, she ordered a Lyft driver from her mobile phone. The Lyft driver would release a statement that read, "We recognize how scary this must be for those who know and love Mackenzie Lueck. The safety of our community is fundamental to Lyft driver, and we are actively assisting law enforcement with their investigation." They also confirmed that Mackenzie certainly had ordered a Lyft driver and revealed that her road contained no irregularities and ended at the destination that Mackenzie had put in. The driver then continued picking up customers after her ride ended. Mackenzie was very dedicated to her studies. She'd also left behind her card. Nevertheless, police hadn't released anything to indicate that they believed that Mackenzie was in danger. They referred to her as a missing person, and there was really no formal search party with Salt Lake City. The Lyft driver said that the person Mackenzie was meeting someone at Hatch Park, a park in a Salt Lake City suburb around 20 minutes away from her apartment. When Mackenzie got out of his vehicle, she didn't appear to be distressed. Mackenzie then climbed into another person's car, which was at around 3 a.m. In the morning, police announced that they'd searched the park and the surrounding area several times, and they'd reviewed surveillance footage from the area. Unfortunately, at the time, the park had dummy cameras. Police additionally said that they had no reason to continue with the Lyft driver's story. Police released some photographs of Mackenzie from inside the airport, hoping it could refresh someone's mind. She was wearing black sweatpants and a light-colored sweater. She was carrying a small black backpack, a large blue purse, and a bronze suitcase. They also issued a public appeal to the person who met Mackenzie at the park, steering, "We've exhausted all avenues of determining that information and want to ask this person to please call us while it is known." Mackenzie had met someone at the park. Police still didn't even know the person. When it was reported in the media that Mackenzie had been dropped off at a park in the early morning hours, some people took to social media and essentially blamed Mackenzie for her own disappearance. Some people suggested that she was irresponsible for going to a park late at night. After the first week passed with no information, police obtained a search warrant for Mackenzie's cell phone records. Surveillance footage of the airport had captured Mackenzie texting with somebody as she was leaving the airport, and there's speculation that this person could have been the person she met at the park. As the search for Mackenzie was underway, her friends put out a public plea for information and asked others in the area to join in. By this point, a tip line had been implemented, and around 200 tips had come in. Each tip was being thoroughly investigated. She was on a dating website very specific called Seeking Arrangements. Her profile on that site was then quickly found. It seems from her Facebook posts that this was something she was more than familiar with. When they got a hold of Mackenzie's phone records, it showed that she had been in contact with a fella named Ayoola Ajayi. His phone was also in the park that night within 1 minute of Mackenzie's phone being there. So the police then decided we should head on over to his house. As the media was congregating around the home, some neighbors chatted with them. They said that Ajayi had turned part of the home into a randall. One neighbor said that Ajayi kept to himself. When he was outside, he almost always had earbuds in, and he very rarely spoke with anybody. Some neighbors reported that Ajayi had been burning something in his backyard. Shortly after Mackenzie vanished, when they looked out the window, they could see that he was pouring gasoline on a fire in his backyard. Some neighbors lamented that the smoke was coming into their windows. There was a strong stench from the smoke starting. It assaulted your nose. In fact, the neighbor came out and asked Ajayi what he was doing, and he claimed that he was burning pallets. At the time, there had been a man staying at Ajayi's house. He told police that he woke up on June 17th to find Ajayi already awake. He was sitting on a trash can in front of his opened garage, and he asked the ranter if he knew how to get gas out of a vehicle. He told him he needed to burn some pallets and figure out how to get some gas. He then goes to a grocery store where he purchased a gas can and then filled it with gasoline. The renter said that when they returned home, he went and took a shower, and when he came out, Ajayi had started a fire in the backyard. Nevertheless, a couple of months beforehand, he had contacted a local contractor and asked them if they could build a small, secret, sign-proof room in the basement. He wanted there to be a thumbprint lock and hooks hanging on the wall, which he had claimed were there for wine racks. Ajayi told the contractor he had a girlfriend coming from out of town and that she was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and didn't know that he drank alcohol, so he wanted to hide it. The contractor asked that if that were the case, why did the room need sign-proofed? Ajayi replied that he may use the room to listen to music by himself. The contractor found the request so disturbing that he turned on the job offer. While Ajayi wasn't aimed as a suspect, police would announce that he was a person of interest in Mackenzie's disappearance. Ajayi was a naturalized U.S. citizen born in Nigeria. He'd come to the United States on a student visa, but while here, he had married a woman named Tanisha Jenkins. Ajayi had attended Utah State University, where he studied computer science on and off for several years. But he didn't earn a degree. In 2012, he was banned from the campus after he was arrested on suspicion of stealing an iPad. While he had left the university, he still mailed around the campus, sleeping on sofas in resident halls and keeping his belongings in the janitor's closet. He also served in the Utah Army National Guard for 6 months, but he failed to complete basic training and was then discharged in June 2015. After failing to meet medical procedure standards, Ajayi even published a book called Forge Identity, and he referred to himself as an entrepreneur on his author profile on Amazon. The book was a fictional book based on a young boy who had witnessed a gruesome murder. Back in December 2017, just 2 days after the search of Ajayi's home, police announced that they've arrested Ajayi on charges of aggravated murder, aggravated kidnapping, and obstruction of justice. When police searched his backyard after the comments from his neighbors, they found that there was a burned area as well as a fresh dig site. A forensic excavation was conducted, and they found several charred items that were identified as belonging to Mackenzie. Even more horrific, they had found charred tissue, and the examination of that charred tissue came back as a match to Mackenzie. They also find Mackenzie's burned phone, and some more charred items were found in the Ajayi home, including black clothing and a possible purse strap or backpack strap in the home. They also find socks with bloodstains near the washing machine and in a trash can in the bathroom. A gas can was also found in the trunk, and police were able to determine that this gas can had been purchased just hours after Mackenzie vanished. Chief Mike Braun would state that calling Mackenzie's parents, Greg and Diana, to inform them of the crushing update was one of the most difficult phone calls he had ever made during his career. Ajayi had become a suspect when police were able to access Mackenzie's cell phone. They identified him as the person that Mackenzie had been texting when she left the airport that night. What hampered the initial investigation was that it wasn't immediately known that Mackenzie had been using the Text Me application for cell phones. Both Mackenzie and Ajayi were active users on dating websites, including Tinder and Seeking Arrangements, which is a dating website to connect sugar daddies and sugar babies. It was on Seeking Arrangements that Mackenzie and Ajayi met the first time they spoke on the app. But they had never actually met up. They chatted back before deciding to meet up in the park that night. Cell phone data would also show that Mackenzie and Ajayi were both at Hatch Park that night, which indicated that he was the person who picked her up. When police had identified Ajayi as the last person Mackenzie had been texting with, he came in for questioning and explained that he had PTSD and anxiety, which is why he'd used various steering websites to talk to women. He claimed that he never met up with any of the women, including Mackenzie. He claimed that he had messaged Mackenzie back over the dating website, but claimed that she had blocked him, and then their communication ended. He even showed police a screenshot of their messages and said to them that Mackenzie had stopped replying to him because he sent her a picture of himself. Ajayi fell under an even deeper cloud of suspicion when he claimed that he had no idea what Mackenzie even looked like, stating that he had never seen a photo or online profile of her. However, that would quickly be determined to be a lie as well when police found that he had several photographs of Mackenzie saved on his cell phone. And during the interrogation, Ajayi said that he suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder and glaucoma. He said that he was suffering from shortness of breath. Medical staff needed to come into the room and examine him. They find that he is hyperventilating, and Ajayi is eventually confronted about all of the evidence gathered against him. They continued to claim that he had never met up with Mackenzie and that he had been at home playing video games all night. After Ajayi was arrested, he was ordered to be held without following his arrest. Mackenzie's family would provide a statement in the wake of the grim news, during which they thanked police for their work at random parts. The Lueck family would like to express their gratitude for the effort put forth by the Salt Lake City Police Department and partnering agencies who assisted, as well as all of the people who provided tips. A makeshift memorial would also appear outside of Ajayi's home, where Mackenzie's remains have been found in the backyard. More of Mackenzie's body would be found while charred human tissue was found in Ajayi's backyard. It was only that, if the rest of Mackenzie's body wasn't there, her remains were found buried in Logan Canyon, which is around 85 miles away from Ajayi's home. It's located near the Utah State University, presumably an area that Ajayi knew well. She was found with her arms bonded with zip ties and ropes. District Attorney Sam Gill updated the public on the gruesome update as it transpired Ajayi's cell phone data and placed him in the canyon around a week after Mackenzie disappeared. Police embarked on the scene and tracked them into the canyon during their search. They came across a disturbed area of soil underneath a grove of trees. It was here that they honored Mackenzie's body. Ajayi appeared in court via video link for the first time on July 14th. The courtroom was parked with Mackenzie's loved ones, and Ajayi didn't say anything during the hearing. Meanwhile, police were continuing their investigation into Mackenzie's murder. They were at Jordan River Parkway, just 15 minutes away from the courtroom, where they were searching for evidence related to the case in the river. They found Mackenzie's University of Utah student ID card and multiple items of women's clothing. Ajayi was formally charged with Mackenzie's murder, as well as aggravated kidnapping and obstruction of justice.